Welcome to Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic, Classic Book Review, Phase 2, with my co-host here, Phil. And we will be reviewing a must-have. I usually say that for these books, but this is a must-have. If you're a gearhead or a technophobe, not a technophobe, but a technophile, this is a good book to have. Even if you're not, like, a Trekkie, it's just, I don't know, it's just cool. But definitely benefit if you are a Trekkie. And it's set up like the old World War II, kind of dossiers you might find, and the maybe old manuals to like the radios used to have. It's like done in that type of way. And it is Star Trek, the Starfleet Technical Manual. Celebrate the 25th anniversary with a classic handbook every Starfleet cadet must have. And this was done by Franz Joseph, who worked on the show. And it's the Training Command Starfleet Academy. And it has Articles of Federation, Federation flags, seals, and uniforms, navigational charts and equipment, Starfleet organization, detailed schematics of Starfleet equipment, interstellar space warp technology, and the Federation codes. And that's what the front looks like. In the back is like this long-winded thing that sort of basically says, well, this is a hard copy of everything that's sort of Starfleet. And it's set up, I don't know if you can pick it up, kind of like the old style, military documents. And there's the only color in this book is the color plate that they refer to in various different, I don't know if they just do it, I think it might be just the uniform things I'll get to shortly, but basically the template that Star Trek goes by. And they call Command Gold Tenne. I have no idea how you pronounce that. Tenne. The red shirts are in blood. So appropriate. And Science Blue is actually Ultramarine. And then you actually have metallics and stuff like that. And it goes Uniform Color Code, Starfleet Specification. And then the fonts they use for most of the stuff. And even the beginning and the foreword, the cover leaflet, I guess you'd call it, the Starfleet Technical Manual, Federation Classified. This manual is for the specific use of Starfleet Academy cadets and contains selected material from the data banks of the master computer. Under the laws of the United Federation of Planets and its member planets, unauthorized use or reproduction, in whole or in part, of these technical orders or any subsequently issued without the written permission of Starfleet and or its planetary agents is strictly prohibited. Official version for cadets from United Nations Earth Sol System, Valentine Books, New York. And it just gets more awesome as the pages go on. And even the thank yous are, with grateful appreciation to these civilians, and especially to these civilians and civilian auxiliaries. And this is pretty much how the entire book looks like. It's sort of the old-fashioned kind of typewriter type pages, which I just think makes it so much cooler, but kind of retro in a futuristic way. It's kind of funny. And there's different, I don't know what you need. Basically, this is the stuff that the bureaucrats in Star Trek would be dealing with. When the admirals are telling Kirk their missions, this is the paperwork they're basing it on, or the paperwork that they end up doing because of a mission they've been on. Like this one is a dossier from Starfleet headquarters dealing with the stuff that happened in the episode, I think Tomorrow is Yesterday, where they end up going back into 1960s and they pluck this pilot out of his plane and, kind of beam him up. And they find out that his son is like a pivotal member of the founding of the Federation, so they have to put him back in his plane and all that stuff. So it goes, report of Captain James D. Kirk commanding, report of Spock commanding, about pursuant to the matter of unauthorized transmission of SFAF material into master computer at security control, Omaha military, MFB, I'm not sure, something base, Earth Solar System as of Stardate 13113. The Special Review Board examined the following pertinent documentation, basically where the captain's logs go. So that's just kind of a neat kind of point of view in the Star Trek world, you know. The general index is done in the same way. This, I'm not even sure what this means. Starfleet Technical Order Section Index. I have absolutely no idea how to read that particular page. It's a bunch of letters and numbers that have no pertinent particular thing. I have no idea. But one of my favorite parts is the Articles of the Federation. This is the Constitution for Starfleet in the Federation. And this thing goes on for 10 to 20 pages. I would say 20 pages because it's 10 actual sheets. So 20 pages of the entire charters of the Federation. And I'm obviously won't read the entire thing, but I'll read like the first section anyway. We, the intelligent life forms of the United Federation of Planets, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of intergalactic war, which has brought untold horror and suffering to our planetary social systems, and to reaffirm faith in the fundamental intelligent life form rights, in the dignity and worth of the intelligent life form person, to the equal rights of male and female and of planetary social systems, large and small, and to establish conditions under which justice and mutual respect for the obligations arising from treaties and other sources of interplanetary law can be maintained, and to promote social progress and better standards of life and larger freedom, and, to these ends, to practice benevolent tolerance and live together in peace with one another as good neighbors, and to unite our strength and maintain intergalactic peace and security, and to ensure by the acceptance of principles in the Constitution of methods that armed forces shall not be used except in common defense, and to employ intergalactic machinery for the promotion of economic and social advancement to all intelligent life forms. And there's a lot of commas. The sad thing is there's no sentences in this, it's like one long thing. And to these ends, and da-da-da. Basically, from here to here is one sentence. There's only one period in this entire section. And it goes between the purposes and principles, basically what the Federation is aiming to do, how you become a member, how the Supreme Assembly or the bureaucracy of Starfleet is set up, how you vote, the Federation Council and how that's set up, how to settle disputes, how the interplanetary and economic and social cooperation. And I've never actually read this through all the way, but it's just a very fascinating read, just that particular section. Ratification and signature. In the faith whereof the representatives of the governments of the United Federation of Planets have signed these Articles of the Federation. Done at the planet Babel, stardate 0965. Followed by signature sheets of the original signatory governments. And Babel is the way it was in the show, it doesn't seem like Babel's an actual planet. It's sort of a place, and it's like the code name. So Earth could be Babel, Vulcan could be Babel, you know. So I don't think there's an actual neutral, like Switzerland planet called Babel, you know. But I'm not sure. But that just fascinates me, really, that somebody actually took the time to really do that. And the next thing is the Treaty of Peace between the Romulans, the Organian Peace Treaty written out. Nothing between the Klingons, but then this is pre that. And this is about the level of graphics they have in this book. They're simple, but they're I don't want to say simply complicated, but that's the different symbolism. And there's charts that kind of map out how the government is set up, which is probably based on, either the UN and the American governments and all that stuff. Starfleet Armed Forces, how those are worked out. And even though it's in, the Star Trek universe, it's obviously based, like I just said, probably on the American, probably worldwide situations. I mean, you kind of have to follow the same sort of logic. So even if you're just sort of interested in that type of thing, this is probably an interesting book to pick up. Okay, this is what Starfleet headquarters looks like. At least per 23rd century anyway. And how you dock the different ships. This was first edition, Stardate 7511.01. What that is an actual. First printing November 1975. 20th anniversary edition 1986. But they re-released it for the 25th anniversary, which was 94. So, what movie came out in 94? Star Trek 5, maybe? Yeah, because maybe even after that. I don't know, but these books are mostly in that range anyways, in that time frame. But the neat thing, okay, here's your standard male tunic that everybody should be familiar with, even now. What's really neat, and if you have any of skill of like being able to do that, they give you the sewing pattern on how to make the tunic. And not just the tunic, the female uniform too. Even the panty part. And there's like two different versions. 3 different versions. You have Nurse Chapel, which has like a little different version. You have one with like a thicker collar. And one with like a little more pointy collar, and that's like the only difference. So there's 3 patterns for the women and 1 for the men. But it doesn't include the trousers for some weird reason. It's only the tunic. You would think the pants would be kind of an important thing, but it's just the shirt. And I thought that was just awesome. And it gives you uniform pattern, male, non-computerized fabrication, ratio unit up or down for larger or smaller sizes, and it gives you the length in the centimeters. So it gives you the size. Like each square is 16 square centimeters. What that is in inches, I don't know. Gives you the size as a 38. So if you have, a lot more skill than I do transferring actual patterns to sew, awesome. So that was just sweet. Now, this part has Starfleet classifications and the different type of ships they've used. Not just Enterprise. And Enterprise is a heavy cruiser. They're sort of like the fanciest ships in the fleet. And what's really cool about that, they give you the entire listing of all the class of ships. The ships that are in that particular class. Hello. He's just riddled with excitement. There's only maybe 5 or 6 different ships in this generation. Plus, the shuttlecrafts. But in the heavy cruiser class, which is the Constitution class, the following ships of the MK1X class are authorized by the original Articles of the Federation, started blah blah blah. And it lists the ships that are sister ships to Enterprise. You have the Constellation, and most of them were lost in the line of duty. Constellation, Constitution, which is the class ship, which is NCC 1700, Enterprise is 1701, Excalibur is 1705, Exeter is 1706, the Farragut is 1702, and that was lost. The Hood is 1707, Intrepid is 1708, that was lost. The Congo is 1710, the Lexington is 1703, the Potemkin is 1711, the Republic, for some weird reason, is 1371, Valiant is 1709, and she was lost, and the Yorktown is 1704. And I guess they came out with like... See, the following ships of the MK-1XA class are authorized by Starfleet. So that there's like another fleet of similar ships to Enterprise, I guess. They're not really sister ships, and there's a bunch of names that I've never heard of. Then they replaced, you know, Constellation 2, Farragut 2. And then there's the MK-1XB class. And there's like lots of them. So I'm not quite sure what time frame this would be in. But it's just really neat to see the names of different ships. Which obviously never made it onto the screen. But obviously, I mean, the Federation is so vast, you'd have more than just 12 ships covering the place. There's a destroyer, which is basically the saucer section with one in the cell. How this is a destroyer, I don't know. You have a scout, which is the same type of ship. Transport tug, which looks like that. And the rest of the book is pretty much just what's inside the ship. And this is like the hors d'oeuvre compared to what I have, the actual blueprints to the Enterprise of every deck. Which I shall be reviewing at some point in the future. And there's also technical specs of the different weapons and the little doodahs and screens and things that are in not sick bay, but I don't know if sick bay's covered in here or not, but in engineering anyways. But speaking of sick bay, here's the tools of the trade McCoy used. And it's done simply. Here's the Vulcan Lyre. It's done simply, but thoroughly. That's the best way to put it. There's three-dimensional chest. And the very last page goes, Starfleet Command, blah blah blah, Appendix A, to all civilian auxiliaries of SFAF, United Nations, so the technical orders compromising this section were not included in the unorthodox transmission of Stardate 3113. Until such time this data can be made available, we suggest you consider using this section to file miscellaneous information you have collected in the general subject areas of the technical manual. And all it is a bunch of grid paper. So, I suppose if you really wanted to, if you designed like other starships, you could use this as a, you know, jumping point or something like that. So it was kind of neat to have your own, you know, you could add your own to the book. I personally would not, because I would want to muck up the book. But this is just so much fun to have in my collection. And my cousin originally, I think, had this, and I was just riddled with jealousy, so I finally got it. Here's the inside of a tricorder, which you look at it now and you're like laughing your butt off, because with technology nowadays, basically, you know, there would be, what the heck are those little doodads? They still have them in computers. I still see them on, you know, chips and stuff. But I don't know if diodes is a word. They're like little pieces like that right there. But pretty soon there'll be nothing like that whatsoever. So I just find it funny how it's like set up like an old radio and not like a, you know, a tablet. But because of Star Trek, we have things like the cell phone and the smartphone and the tablet and all that stuff. Some people will deny that, but tell me, no. I believe that was the jumping point. People are like, wait a minute, the pad in Next Gen, that's a pretty damn good idea. And you can buy an app, I know on Android definitely, probably on the iDooDahs, where you can make it look like the actual pad from Next Gen, the LCAR system, which is just, I mean, if you have a tablet, you need to get that. I did download like a calendar type of thing. That was the closest thing I get for nothing, but it was still awesome. So definitely, for any tech head, a book to look into. And I have no clue where I got this. I definitely check Amazon, like I put on the end of most of my videos. I've had these for like 15 years. But I don't know if they still reprint them or not. I mean, considering that the 50th anniversary will be up on us pretty soon, they might be reissuing these type of things. And at back in those days, this was $12.50. So you're probably paying $25 now, unless you can find them used or something on Amazon. Because things seem to have gone up twice in the past 10 years, which really suck. So, definitely a must-have. Really fun to look through. Interesting with the tech, the treaties and all that. So that is my hopefully finished try at doing this particular video. It feels like one more time. Thank you for watching. I'd like to know if they have any, which I probably tell you in all the other videos too. It's like, I know you said that already. I want to know if there's more stuff. I haven't been in a bookstore in a very long time. That's if you can find one anymore. But these particular ones are books you actually want in your hand. That one you could probably get away with on a digital format if it's a big enough, like a supersized tablet or something. Or even on a laptop, computer screen. Didn't even think of that. But, again, thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. And my co-host and I will see you all next time. Say bye.
Bye.